Hey, what's up? Today we're taking a look at the MSI WE series of mobile workstations. Thus begins my quest for an all-around editing machine with enough punch to cut some raw footage from my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K and have the power I need in the graphics department to play the occasional game. But before we continue, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss any of our future reviews, including a review of the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. Future reviews will also include laptops from Razer, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Asus, and many more. And if there's a specific laptop you'd like to see me review, be sure to drop it in the comments below. So, let's start with the specs. Weighing in at 5.75 pounds, this WE75 configuration includes an Intel Core i7 9750H 6-core processor with a base clock speed of 2.8 GHz and turbo speed up to 4.5 GHz. It boasts a 17.3-inch 60Hz 100% sRGB IPS level display with a built-in 720p webcam, 32 gigs of DDR4 2666 memory, a 512 gig NVMe SSD, an NVIDIA Quadro T2000 mobile graphics card with 4 gigs of GDDR5 VRAM, all of this priced at $2,000. Now, why did I go with a Quadro workstation? Well, the truth is I haven't tested a lot of Quadro cards, and I was a little bit curious how the Quadro would hold up under benchmark testing, especially when it comes to gaming. Now, if you're wondering what the difference between a Quadro and a GeForce card is, I'm not going to get super deep into it here, but let's just say the Quadro is best suited for complex computing in advanced 3D applications, and the GeForce series is slanted more toward the consumer with primarily gaming and general computing in mind, where you just need a lot of power without as much precision. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't game on a Quadro card, but they are crazy expensive in comparison and aren't going to have the same in-game performance because of their differing architecture. Now with that, let's get into the review. First off, the case is a little boxy, but has a few light flourishes here and there with a gamery design printed on the bottom. The lid is a little bit flexible, certainly not as sturdy as a MacBook, but it is entirely made of metal, which is a nice touch. Speaking of touches though, it doesn't stand up well to fingerprints. Now, on a mobile workstation, I generally don't pay a lot of attention to battery life simply because when I'm cranking away on a long editing session, I want as much power as possible, so I'm always plugged in to external power. And if you were to edit with this machine on battery, you can expect your performance to be cut in half, if not more so. But for other activities like web browsing or word processing, you can expect battery life somewhere in the ballpark of 5 hours. Editing performance was pretty standard for a machine with these specs. I was able to fluidly edit 4K footage in both Premiere and DaVinci Resolve. I even got in some motion graphics work in Adobe After Effects without any problems. Though you do have to adjust your NVIDIA settings to avoid some screen tearing that occurs when you're playing back your comps in After Effects. Now, while I didn't experience any mind-blowing performance, it was more than enough power when I had to edit on the fly at a recent trade show. Now, the keys, they're a little squishy, but still nice to type on, and I love having a keypad, which is something we've long come to expect on 17-inch machines. However, the shorten shift key, the position of the right arrow key, and the size of the 0 key on the number pad is definitely something you'll have to get used to when coming from a full QWERTY keyboard. The trackpad includes a fingerprint security feature, which during my tests didn't always work on the first try. I typically had to reposition my finger once or twice for Windows to log in. The trackpad feels okay. If there's high humidity or your hands are a little moist, getting around the trackpad might be a little jerky, but I almost always use an external mouse, so for me this really isn't that big of a deal. But a different finish on the trackpad would be a welcomed change. With two 3-watt speakers, this machine sounds surprisingly good and gets significantly louder than your average laptop. It is Still a laptop though, so it's gonna sound a little tinny. Best to stick with those good old over-ear headphones. When it comes to I/O, I don't think I could have asked for much more. We have 4 USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports, one being Type-C, a mini display port, an HDMI port capable of 4K at 60 Hz, gigabit LAN, an SD card slot, a headphone jack, and a microphone jack. Very, very nice. In our Unigen superposition benchmark test, we managed an average of 38 frames per second on high settings and an average of 53 frames on moderate settings. So again, not the most amazing machine for gameplay, but if you're also using this for creative work, know that it's still going to get the job done. MSI's laptop cooling is one of the things they're known for, and the WE series is no exception. Under load, our CPU spiked at just 89 degrees before the fans took over and dropped the temperature down to 72 degrees with some moderate fan noise. Overall, this is a great machine, but if you're considering buying one, I would recommend opting for a model with the more powerful Quadro RTX 3000. That does come with a bit of a price hike at an extra $400, but if you opt for a Xeon processor, that'll bring you back down to just below $2,000. And just for some perspective, the new 16-inch MacBook Pro with a similar configuration will cost you a full $800 more. So this is a great machine for 3D, CAD, or video editing with just enough power to do the occasional gaming. And if you want to check it out for yourself on Amazon or Newegg, there are links to both of those in the description below. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification button, because in my next review, I'll be taking a close look at the new Apple 16-inch MacBook Pro. There's been a lot of hype around it lately, so I really want to see how it holds up. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.